To be or not to be? That's the question.
Whether 'tis nobler in the mind to suffer the slings and fortunes of outrageous... slings and arrows of outrageous fortune. Alright, whatever. Who cares? This ain't Hamlet Shakespeare. This is
Denny O'Neill's.
Yeah. The Question.
Yeah. Hey, everybody. We're back. Read Weens time.
Yeah.
We said we were reading Omnibus 1 and 2, but like a week ago we decided we probably have enough to just talk about Omnibus 1. Yeah. And then next episode we'll talk about Omnibus 2.
Yep.
Because, this is a dense book.
Yeah.
A lot happens in every issue.
Yeah. No, I was expecting to, like, breeze through it in a week, and then I was, like, got, like, 3 days in, and I was like, oh, man, no.
Yeah.
And thankfully you messaged me. I was gonna do it, but I was gonna be a wreck, so... But yeah.
It's just interesting to look at each decade and how comics are written. And if you look at comics now, they're just there's so much less words.
Yeah, and I think that there's a certain strength to that. I like a good balance.
Yeah.
Especially depending on the scene. Like, if it's an action scene, I don't want, like, a bunch of fucking dialogue text, typically. I want to kind of feel the kinetic flow of the panels, but... Yeah, it's definitely, like, interesting to, see the different eras and how they would approach it. A lot of words in this one. Wordy bitch.
A lot of words.
But it's a good one. Yeah, it's The Question.
Before we jump in, did you get a chance to read any of the back stuff?
No,
because they collected all of the question and answer stuff, and I do like that it's just called The Answer.
Yeah,
Q&A stuff. I'm like, that's cute.
Yeah, that is cute.
It's pretty good. I haven't read it all yet, but
yeah, I also didn't read the 2 other issues in there that were not the question. I skipped those.
You skipped the annuals?
I read the annual.
You didn't. You skipped the.
I skipped the Batman and the Green Arrow
annual.
I read the 2 pages.
That ties directly into...
I read the 2 pages with the question in it from the Batman one. I skimmed through the Green Arrow one. I didn't see the question once in that.
Yeah, but it's a 3-part story.
I mean, I read the annual and I got...
You're like, where's my fucking maskless man?
I was just like, what? I'm reading the question, not the Batman.
I don't care about Batman. Okay.
So I skipped those.
Oh, right.
To be fair, that was before you had been like, we need...
You're like, I gotta book it right now.
I was like, I need to maintain... That and the digital version I had didn't even have the annual or any of those 2 stories. It was like a fan-made digital,
okay.
So I think it just had the...
And then you came and you bought this guy.
Yeah, and then I came across those and I was like, oh. All right. But, yeah. The question. So we'll probably just briefly talk about each issue, because I feel like there's at least something in each issue I want to talk about. Yeah, probably.
The ones that I remember the least are the first 5, because I had already read those, and then when we first said we were going to read this, I reread them.
Yeah.
And then, this week, I read the rest. So I'm like,
See, the ones that are... I remember the first 4, because that's the Jeremiah Hatch storyline.
Yeah.
And I really like that one, and I read it twice, because I read it a while ago, and then I put it down. And then, issues 5 through 9 or so, the next 5 or so issues are kind of one-offs that are kind of world building a bit. Mm-hmm. And those are the ones that I tended to be I had to go back through and be like, what the fuck was happening? The acid face guy comes back in those issues. It's...
Yeah, because he shows up in issue 5, and then he shows up...
initially.
Oh, yeah.
Because the bus.
And then he shows up again in issue 20. It's way in the back half he shows up.
Yeah. But...
It's like Oda. No.
Kinda, I guess.
But yeah, so those first 4 issues are kind of how Charles Zaz or Vic Sage becomes the question.
Yeah.
He's a reporter. He's a nightly reporter in a city called Hub City, which is just
supposed...
I think their idea is, what if we made Gotham just even more decrepit?
Essentially. I don't think that comes across very well in, like, this. Like, it kind of... You kind of get the picture overall, but they have to, like, explain it a lot. I don't know. I was expecting it to feel... Because I'd known a little bit about the Question going into it, and I know that, like, the orphanage is a big deal in his story, which we didn't really cover at all.
Yeah, I'm wondering if that's in the second, because I had also heard that, and
yeah,
it's, like, maybe mentioned, like, in 3 issues.
Yeah, and it's very brief when they do mention it. And I had known that Hub City was, like, fucking worse than Gotham, supposedly. And it's like, I see what they mean when it's like, there's no, like, high-class society in Hub City. But it definitely just, it felt like a lot of telling and not showing, but I guess you kind of do get little bits and pieces of context throughout.
I think you get bits of context, and I also think that Dennis Cowan's really good at, making everything and everyone look grimy.
Yeah.
Scummy.
Yeah. But then I like, cause obviously this is very close to Watchmen, and I read like the first couple pages of Watchmen after this, and I was like, now that does a good job at like making just the right on the first page, you're like, oh, this place is fucking gross. Like, so I don't know, but overall I really enjoyed this though. It's like kind of just your basic kind of just in a Gotham type setting, dark noir story, but it's got like this Taoist and Buddhist philosophy underbaked in all of it due to the main character and his origin. So it's a really great read, especially because my knowledge on that kind of stuff is pretty patchwork, but like I've been trying to learn more about it. So this kind of just came along at the right time and hit on those interests.
I also do think that it's informed really interestingly from the fact that like Mr. O'Neill is a very white man.
Yeah.
But, like, there seems to be a genuine want to explore different themes, and explore, like, racism really heavily in this book, especially in a couple of issues.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, like, I'll always appreciate, like, even when, like, white dudes fumble their writing in, like, trying to be progressive, I think that's better than not talking about it at all. Like,
yeah.
I would much rather be reading something from the 80s and be like, well, that's framed kind of weird, but but that's, I
the
get
heart
it. Yeah, the heart's
right
there.
place,
Other than just like, yep.
As opposed
it's the same, it's the same old story. Like, seems like O'Neill really wants to explore those things. And I think Dennis Cowan's, like, just has some crazy cool art. I really appreciate his art in this. I love the way that hair's drawn in the 80s. And I just think everyone has a really distinct look to them.
The art was not my favorite.
Okay.
I thought it was serviceable for most of it. I thought it was a little inconsistent. Where it truly got me was usually when it was trying something bold with, like, the colors or, like, the first 4 issues, like, the part where he's, like, drowning and like, going towards the light. Like, that was super good. And there's, like, the bit later on with the soldiers that bury him and, like, just little stuff like the red faces flashing when he's like talking about, like, I like stuff like that. But I felt like as the comic went along, especially in like the back half of the book, I was being less impressed by a lot of the artwork in general. And I don't know if it's meant to be like symbolic to the story, like the city's getting grimier, so the characters start to look grimy, but he starts to like kind of really lose form when he's drawing a lot of people. Like the mayor's got like a pyramid face whenever it's like a profile shot. Looks very like radish almost, which I think was intentional, but I kind of noticed like a bit of that dirt profile a lot throughout the whole run.
I think
which is
something
fun.
that kind of fit with me, is I do think that characters start looking grosser and grosser as it goes. Which to me felt intentional.
Yeah. I don't like Todd's redesign, though. I don't like
You don't like Todd's redesign where he kind of looks like me?
He doesn't look like... He just looks like a standard old, like, hippie.
Yeah. Yeah, I was a little surprised that they kept it, like, for the whole time. I thought, like, oh, this will be, like, a 3-issue thing. But I was like, okay.
No, I guess they just didn't like his old design, which it was a bit generic, but it felt, like, genuine and real enough.
Should have just kept, like, a big mustache or something.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so those first couple issues are about how the question's born, which is just, he is constantly getting into trouble because he's trying to, get the next big lead and trying to fix the city, but doesn't really know how to do that because from his mind, and from kind of everyone's mind, the entire city's corrupt. There's, like, no good police in there.
Yeah.
I actually think it's kind of incredible storytelling that the one good cop they have is the most corrupt of them all, and he decides one day, he's just like, what if I was just good?
Yeah, I do like that. I wish they had explored it a bit more.
Yeah, like I said, I'd be interested to see if they do any more in the future, because it still feels like there's a lot of exploration they can do for Hub City and stuff.
Oh, absolutely.
But, like, I think that the bulk of the characterization being about Vic Sage and then Myra.
Yeah.
I love her character. I'm a big fan.
Yeah, I like her character.
I just think there's so many interesting scenarios they put these characters in.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he disappears for a year because he is almost killed.
Yeah.
And then he is taken to a guy in the woods by the woman that almost killed him.
Mm-hmm.
Well, she just beat the shit out of him. The other guys tried to kill him.
Yeah.
And she's like, well, that's not fair. I'm going to go take him to the woods. And he's going to have, how you call it? A wheelchair sensei. There's a disabled man in the woods who teaches him how to fight and how to regain his spirit. Yeah. And then he comes back and he's like, all right, I got an old man in a chair, just like Batman, but I'm much grimier.
Yeah.
And I suck. Like, I appreciate characters that he still gets the shit beat out of him, like, all the time.
Yeah, he does, especially as the book goes along, he kind of, like, loses touch with a lot of, like, the, like, kind of meditative principles he had gained earlier on in the story as he dives further into the city and causes himself to kind of slip up more often, too, which he calls attention to kind of earlier on as well.
He's like, I'm losing focus, and then he just does it anyway. He's like, I need to rest, and then he just doesn't.
Yeah.
It's like the only two people that can really get him to rest are Tot and Myra.
Yeah.
Occasionally.
Even then, it's like, yeah, not really.
And Tot. Also, I, forgot that Tot was short for Aristotle until later on, until they said his name again. I'm like, why would they call him Tot? And I would just be like, that sounds like something that he would hate being called, and Vic probably just does it anyway.
Probably, yeah. Yeah, I didn't even make the connection that it was coming from the hold on, like, why is he calling him Tot?
Yeah.
But I guess that makes sense. Yeah, but yeah, he's an interesting character.
Yeah, after the first big arc, how soon after it was it the couple? So yeah, he becomes the question. He fights this guy named Jeremiah Hatch, who is a priest, who is trying to accelerate torment in the world to kind of bring about the next coming of Christ kind of thing.
Yeah.
He reveals later on, like towards the end of his arc, that actually, I'm not a priest. They just let me do it. It was a Vietnam that he was in. They're just like, they didn't check. I just said I was a priest. He had gotten kicked out of the chaplain program or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And he was actually hearing the voice of the devil, and the devil was telling him to do all these things. And he's like, this is good because this will accelerate it, and then God will come.
Yeah, he's playing that 4D chess. But
and then in this giant, and then the question eventually shows up, and he's like, it's you. He thinks it's him, and he's so confused. That I really like this part where he's like, which one are you? Because it's like, in his mind, because it feels like he actually does want maybe humanity to prosper in the future, but he's genuinely evil. It's crazy.
Yeah, he's...
Another character shows up who has a similar kind of outlook with Tot.
Yeah.
And it's just like, the question that keeps being asked in the question is, can good people do evil things? Can evil people do good things? And is anyone good and is anyone evil, kind of thing? Mm-hmm. To the point that I think one of the lines at the end of one of the issues is, maybe no one's a villain.
Yeah. It's definitely like one of the prevailing themes throughout the entire, at least, section of the run that we read. Are you checking?
Yeah, you're good. Keep going.
Okay. But yeah, I think the most blatant example of that happening in the story was the one with the extremely racist guy coming to town.
Which is that's the line at the end.
Yeah.
Maybe there is no villain.
Yeah. And they reference it again, I think, when the mayor, towards the end, ends up... Spoiler alert for the question, if you plan on reading it.
I like... This part actively, I actually was kind of shocked at this.
Yeah.
Not necessarily, at what happens, but I guess... Well, so, the spoiler is, Myra is married to the mayor, who is completely drunk off his ass.
Yes.
She did it because, I don't even remember why she did it.
The Reverend had set it up.
And it
was a forced marriage, but she is actually religious based off the little bits of context I can get from her dialogue throughout the run, and she actually does believe in the sanctity of marriage, and it's no, I'm gonna see this through best I can, and I'm gonna try to just take care of the city through this mess kind of just by proxy.
So she's just kind of pretending that things are the mayor's ideas of we should do this, but then she's like, I should just run for mayor.
Because he's such a drunk.
And the other guy that's running is actual Nazi.
Yes. Yes.
There's a lot of actual Nazis in this book.
I know. Yeah,
which is something that I also don't see explored that much in comics lately.
No, you see a lot of generic Nazis, but you don't see a lot of actual exploring of the right-wing ideology tie-in with it. And
also, I can't remember in that issue with the extremely racist guy, he's just actually saying the N-word over and over again.
Yes.
And I don't remember the last time I saw one of the big two books, even if it's because I think this was Black Label or I don't remember what the imprint was at the point, but they're not going to use those words. They're going to go, they're going to put the little scratch marks over it. I'm just say it. Not because I wanted to read the word, but because it does, words have power. Words have meaning.
It's it definitely would soften it a bit if you weren't just fucking reading an entire 27 pages of this guy
and that's
saying the most.
I feel that's the first panel that's of that issue pretty much.
Yeah, and it's honestly, I was after I finished that, I'm that might be, I've seen some pretty some depictions of racist characters and shit, but just on a dialogue level, that guy might have been the most racist character I've ever fucking come across. Which I think is salient given the point that issue is trying to raise, or the question it was trying to ask. Which is can the most fucking vile racist piece of shit still do a good act and be perceived as a hero? Because the guy who they're running against, or there's a guy who's got beef with the really racist guy who's running. They're both racist, but just in different ways. So then he tries to put a hit out on Vic Sage for reporting the truth, and the racist
jumps in front of him and saves him. And Vic's literally just no! No! Yeah. Anyone but you!
It's God.
And then he dies in his arms, and everyone's he's a hero, and he immediately is no. And they're what do you mean? He's I don't know anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's just man. Yeah. It's a decent question to ask, especially because it's you're following your gut on what's wrong or right, and it brings up that principle of it's you're just kind of following your senses, but your senses, we can't really take them as absolute or correct all the time. So it's is there really a wrong or right, good, evil, all that? It's some interesting stuff to chew on.
what we were saying before, and then I went on a tangent, and then you went on a tangent. But Myra gets...
Oh, yeah.
She gets reelected. As in, the guy that... She loses by 1 vote to the Nazi, but the Nazi had been killed.
Yeah, in a big tornado that came through
the
town.
Because he had hired a bunch of thugs to sit outside these voting machines and stop anyone that wasn't wearing, like, a MAGA hat, genuinely.
Green baseball. There's literally a line where he's like, those damn baseball caps, and I was just like, this is eerie.
It was just great, yeah. But they would just beat the shit out of people if they weren't wearing these hats to make sure that this guy won.
Yeah.
But then... I think the question beats up somebody, gets them arrested, and then gets, like, a note out to the rest of the thugs that, oh, actually, this guy's in the hospital because he got bad drugs. So then they're suddenly convinced that the Nazi had given them bad drugs. Mm-hmm. So then they go and they beat him up, and then a storm comes in. Like I said, there's just so much stuff that happens in every show. It's like, and now there's a tornado or whatever.
Yeah.
And then this giant, like, trunade goes through Hub City. And in the morning, he's elected, but nobody can find him, and they find him dead. Mm. So then she's elected. And then as she's giving her speech, her husband, this drunk man who hates communists, in his moments of clarity, he'll just be like, I hate the communists. And then he'll get just drunk off his ass. He pulls out a gun and shoots her in the chest.
Yep. And then goes and double taps her later, which I thought for sure she was dead when he did that.
Yeah, I think that's the thing I was surprised. I'm like, okay, she got shot once. She'll be okay. And then he shot her twice more. I'm like, did they fucking kill her? Yeah. I was like, they can't do this!
I thought they did, and then next issue, he's like, she's barely alive. It's like, oh, okay. I see. But
even the question, I kind of was convinced they were just gonna kill her. Like, up until the very last, issue. I was like, and then he's gonna go off his rocker, and that's gonna be where the next omnibus, starts, but...
No.
Instead, something very weird happens.
The way it's handled is very, kind of cartoonishly over the top, but, it's definitely, an idea that I think does have a lot of merit, which is basically wish casting through our art and kind of creating, a self-fulfilling prophecy, essentially. But because at the end, it gets to that story with the Golden Age, Silver Age, whatever age. I think it would be Golden Age because it's World War II. Comic book artist who theorizes he won the war because he was
Tott's cousin or something like that.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, he's not necessarily just him, but it's artists won the war.
Yeah, because they basically motivated the spirits of the people and the soldiers on the front line, and kind of essentially, like I said, just kind of wish casted the victory and kind of set it in, you put it on the page, you're setting it in stone. And then he goes on to describe how he became a shaman for, I forget where he said it was, but,
excuse me, Kitty, I need to look at this omnibus.
Yeah. But, and he would draw a picture of a rhino every day, and then he put it up, and one of the hunters would throw an arrow at it. Or shoot an arrow at it, and then later that day they would bring home, the exact thing he had brought the picture of. And if they had failed to shoot the picture, they would fail to bring home the food. And so it was oh.
I'm afraid the cat's gonna go press the space bar and turn off the recording.
Probably a safe bet. Oh. So, you're putting it out into the universe. Now it's definitely going to happen.
Let's just put it down here.
Yes. But yeah. So I thought that was super interesting.
Yeah, it's weird because, I think about now that we're old, on the cusp of 30.
Yeah.
I believe more in, storytelling and the power of belief and manifestation. Mm-hmm. Even if I don't necessarily, believe it, I think it's a wonderful thing to believe.
Yeah.
And I appreciate the idea of it. But when I think back to when I was in high school, It was the most annoying thing I ever heard of. Like, anytime somebody, you just have to manifest that for yourself. You just have to believe. Be like, shut the fuck up.
No,
So it's nice that I've grown into appreciating life a little more.
No, I feel that too, because upwards of like 5-ish years ago or so, I used to be a very like materialistic person in the sense of like, not like I like money and things, but like the things I believed were not spiritual, but very grounded.
It's really interesting because I actually think that if we read this like 5 years ago,
I'd be like, this is just basic bitch noir, and who cares? It's got like some Eastern philosophy.
Yeah, I think about the movies and the books that we watched 7 years ago, and I'm like, maybe those actually suck, or maybe those are actually awesome.
Yeah, maybe.
But I just think that's what's so interesting about humanity, about growing old, about growing up, is the way we interact with art.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really interesting because, like, I think Denny O'Neil had to have been... I think he's like... I don't know. I'll check how old he was. But Dennis Cowan was only like 25 when he was drawing that.
Yeah, because I know... a handful of years before this, because Denny O'Neil did the Ra's al Ghul origin and Batman in like the early 80s, late 70s.
Because he was already... Because he died like 6 years ago at this point.
Because he was the proto, like, Frank Miller for kind of like bringing the darkness into Batman, at least for that era, like telling darker stories and stuff. Obviously, he didn't go as far off into the grime from what I can tell, but I haven't read his full run. Although I'd like to, if there is like an omnibus or something of it that gets released.
Yeah, there's a lot that I want to read from him just because he's something like special there.
Yeah, it seems like a really good comic artist from an era of comics that I don't really read a whole lot of. I guess I've read a decent little chunk from the 80s, but I feel like it's mostly 90s and onwards that I've...
Speaking of noir stuff, there's a comic hanging up by my door that you've probably seen called Mystery.
Maybe. It's not ringing
which is about like a detective, and it's gorgeous. I love that book. It's the first issue in there. But in one of the backup stories in that is just like a prose of Batman that's written by O'Neil.
Oh.
And it has some like, it almost looks like charcoal illustrations in it, but it's mostly just like a written story about him. And it's maybe my favorite Batman story. I think it's incredible.
Huh.
And it's like 4 pages long.
I'll have to look that up and see if I can find it online without the mystery aspect of having to buy all that.
Or you can just
read
open
it here.
that.
Yeah, true.
Borrow.
I could read it here.
It's also like a $3 comic.
I see. I thought it was like a big...
No, I don't... I think the most expensive comic I own is probably just Absolute Batman #1. And I don't even get cover A's. Because cover A of that is like $90. I think I have one that's like $40. But like, I just don't... There's so many comics to read. And I love Superman, and most Superman books are dirt cheap.
Yeah, most people don't. I was talking with Wyatt, because Wyatt's like, London keeps trying to get me into Superman. I'm like, yeah, I'm with London. Get into Super... I told Wyatt to watch the movie, and I was like, I think if you want something out of Superman, or if you haven't been able to get something, you'll get the idea of the character from that movie.
Yeah.
So.
The Man of Steel? Is that
yes.
the one you're talking about?
Yes. Absolutely. But yeah. What's it called? But back to the question. Yeah. Are there any, like, particular favorite stories that you came across? I've got a few that I really liked in here.
Well, let me try.
I consider the cream of the crop, you know?
I do think that opening arc with Jeremiah Hatch is tremendous, and is such a good introduction for the character.
Yeah, I honestly thought the rest of the series was going to follow more suit, where there's going to be more arcs like that, but there's a lot more standalone than I was expecting.
I'm actually, like, a huge fan of this issue, which I think is issue 5. It's, like, right after.
The one with, that's, like, the first one. That's the one with the lady at the park.
Yeah, it's just like world building. I'm a huge fan of like Astro City and Assorted Crisis events. Just anything that's exploring like cities of superheroes, but through the lens of everyday people. And that one's like the questions running around because there's pretty much no mayor. Because before Jeremiah Hatch was dead, he was pretty much mayor.
Yeah,
he was running
puppet
things.
master, and then he lit the mayoral office on fire.
Yeah, so at this point, everyone's on strike. Everyone's not doing their job. This is kind of when we first see, what's his name? The cop.
O'Toole.
Is it O'Toole? Yeah.
Yeah.
You see O'Toole kind of stopping something in this part.
Yeah. Yeah, because the guy who jumped off the roof, the office guy who tried to make a grab on that lady and killed himself, a couple of his cops were like looting their pockets or whatever, and he kind of had a wake up moment. And he's like, all right, I'll take money from people, but that's sick. And
and then they take the gun from him and they're like, you broke my legs once. I'm going to break yours.
Yeah.
And then the Question shows up and saves him. And he's like, hey, I'm the Question. And then runs away.
Yeah.
He does say that's the Question quite a bit. Yeah. I thought that was like, because that's in the Justice League animated show a lot, and he's got like a funny voice and it makes sense. But like he says it in all seriousness here. And but then later on he's like, I just kind of think it's funny. I do think it's
because he'll refer to himself kind of based on his mood going forward. Like it's like what is that? And he's like, that's a reasonable question. Or that's a terrible question, and just kind of based on whatever mood he's in. So it's kind of funny. I need to watch. It might be the Batman, the Brave, and the Bold. I'm not sure where it was, but I saw that the Question was voiced by Jeffrey Combs in one series. It's like,
is it in Justice League Unlimited?
No, it wasn't.
Okay, I do like that his voice in that, but
yeah. Jeffrey
Combs, the Question goes crazy.
Yeah, it's like, oh, that's a fun choice. I like that. I forget.
Yeah, it's Scooby. Oh, it's the Scooby-Doo and Batman, the Brave and the Bold movie.
Oh, okay.
Which I forgot he was in.
Interesting. Hey, Pop-Tart.
But yeah, that one is just like an old lady is waiting for the bus. It's kind of exploring her life a little bit. There's a guy who they're stuck in. He's like, oh, here's this lady that works with me. She can stay here tonight, and then makes a move on her.
Mm-hmm.
And then goes and kills himself because he feels bad about it. And there's just like a lot of really poignant like lines in there. Like in the last moments, he realized maybe this thing I did was horrible, but maybe it's not unforgivable. Maybe I could do something with my life. Maybe I could be forgiven for this in the future. And then he fucking dies. And then it jumps to across town and shows his wife who's like, where's my husband? I'm like, what the fuck? Yeah. And then this little old lady who's like really rough around the edges is just freezing to death.
Mm-hmm.
And then it shows the bus drivers. It's just really good about jumping around the city and showing all these aspects that can be thrown off by like not having a government that cares about its people, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
And the Question is running around. This is when you really see him first, like, just at his wit's end, because he's never resting. And because Hub City has no other heroes, it's just the Question. Everyone else is just like, yeah, this place fucking sucks.
Yeah, it's got a reputation worse than Gotham, so it's like no one even bothers. And except for him. It's his city, damn it. He's got to take care of it.
Who else will save it? That's the question. Bazinga.
Yeah.
There were some other issues I really enjoyed. I actually do really like this issue just as fun one-off.
The fat boy.
There's this fat guy who loves ice cream.
This
and he's
one
like
unnerved me with all the like panels of like people getting shot and that, because like it's not like an uncommon tactic in comics, but yeah, just like the like shift to red with the violence and just like one moment this guy's angry and the next it's his last moment just black and red and violent. It's just like very unnerving, especially because it's like just coming from this fat guy who's like ringing the doorbell and going like, you got candy, I kill you. It's just like, what is this? I loved the military 2-part.
Yeah, there's a military 2-part called, I think it's Saving Face, and I don't remember what the first part's about, but it's about this, like, offset of the military who were supposed to be like these super soldiers. But then they left because they didn't want to be paraded around the sergeant's like, no, we need to go kill the enemy, pretty much.
Yeah.
So they leave, and then they just start killing, like, military officers, being like, we're weak, we have to be stronger.
Mm-hmm.
And the Question eventually finds them and fights them all, but then gets captured by them because he's good.
And then the second issue is like a creep show thing where he gets buried up to the neck in the ground and is, like, forced to, like, endure it longer than their captain did. And the captain claims that all the men are honorable, so he carves the amount of time that he has to, like, survive on to, like, the tree stump behind him. And you kind of, like, get this, like, kind of interesting idea set up where it's like, you know, all these soldiers are kind of, like, given an ideology, and then it's like they're given orders that conflict against that ideology.
Because it actually turns out that only one of them is actually honorable.
Yes.
And then the other ones are just blindly following what their commander says.
Mm-hmm.
And then at the end, he's like, okay, you two fight it out. And the winner will be the one that decides. And it's like, you just don't want to make a choice here.
Yeah.
Because if he lets the Question go, they get arrested.
Mm-hmm.
And then they all shoot themselves in the head.
Yeah.
Because the honorable one wins, I guess. Yeah. He gets stabbed.
And he's bleeding out and then spends the rest of his life digging out the Question as much as he can. And it's like, yeah, that was a dark issue, especially because, like, partway through, I was very, like, because I think, like, something happens when he's under the ground, so the story establishes pretty early on that if his body goes through any sort of, like, chemical changes for whatever reason, it can, like, affect the adhesive to the mask.
Yeah.
So it ends up falling off. So all these guys, like, see his real face. And it's like, you're like, oh man, how is this going to pan out? And then they all die. It's like, shit.
The multi-part, I can't remember if it was 2 or 3 issues, but with Tot being captured.
No, yeah.
I do think
that was like 3 to 5 issues, I think.
I do like it. I'm going to be honest, I like every issue in this book.
I think every issue at least has merit and something to latch onto in it, for sure.
But this part where he's trying to find Tot, he goes up to a guy he knew in high school who he, like, beat the shit out of.
Yeah.
And the guy's like, yeah, because of that, I turned my life around and I became like a sergeant or something, and now I'm in charge of all this stuff. And the Question is, like, feigning losing this fight so that this guy keeps talking and he keeps learning more information. And then he gets it all and he's like, so you said one punch saved your life, right? And he's like, yeah. And he's like, and then he just fucking does like a 1, 2, 3, just destroys this guy, and he, like, flies across the room and he's like, now you're a shoo-in for president. And I think it's the funniest line in the book. It's so funny.
Yeah, they really have a funny way of, like, depicting just kind of, like, basic brutality like that in this book. Like, there's a part where O'Toole is, like, seeing some dirty cops, like, take a bribe or something. So he just goes over and just fucking whomps the shit out of them and goes, all right, well, let me catch you doing that shit again. And it's just like, that's during the arc where, surprise, the cops try to assassinate him, or other cops try to because they're paid off or whatever. And it's like, I feel like that section needs to be fleshed out more, because it's like, yeah, you have, like, one non-corrupt cop and a sea of corrupt cops. They're going to assassinate him at some point. So I hope that comes up again and it's not just, like, nipped out of the story now that it happened in one story arc or whatever. But
I do think that Epitaph for a Hero is probably the most memorable of these stories, which is the one with the extremely racist guy.
Yeah.
Because I think that even though it's, you know, dated and stuff, I think what O'Neill's trying to say here and what he's exploring here is probably the most poignant thing that has lasted so long since the 40 years since this book came out.
Yeah.
But it's also just a hard read, and it's also memorable because, you know, everyone's, you know, saying the worst words imaginable. And this guy loves Vic Sage, and Vic Sage is so annoyed by it. It's like, this racist loves me. He keeps telling me the most racist jokes I've ever heard.
Wonder if that was a meta moment for, like, just being a comic creator in general, having a lot of conventions and fans come up and just say awful shit to you or something. It's like, no, you're misunderstanding. I was trying to make a commentary on that, you stupid fucking idiot.
Poor Punisher writers.
Yeah.
It's the same meta commentary thing. A couple of issues later, he's on a plane and he reads Watchmen, which is really weird because Watchmen is based on all these old Charlton Comics characters, and like Rorschach was originally the Question. Mm-hmm. So then he's reading about Rorschach and he's like, this guy's kind of cool. He's like reading about it. But Rorschach is like a weird twisted version of the Question where
it's like the Dark Knight Returns version of the Question, essentially. But maybe a little crazier.
And then he has a dream where he is the Question, or he is Rorschach. And it's just like very strange. But I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's a fun issue. I loved the annual. I thought that was a really good one. Even though, like...
The one that you read 1/3 of the story for?
It felt like the full package to me when I was reading it. Minus the fact that I think that because like, when you read the first like 4 issues, you feel like Lady Shiva is going to be like a big deal later on. Mm-hmm. And then, she just kind of pops up in that annual. It's like, oh, I'm the assistant to this bigger deal guy that was established in 2 comics you didn't read. Like, all right, whatever. But I got the gist, but I do really like this issue, and I love the way it ends.
Me too. I when you have time, I would read the other 2. I think the Green Arrow one specifically is really good because it's about him like.
I don't know whenever I read a Green Arrow issue, my eyes just glaze over.
Okay, really? Maybe that's just the thing. I really like Green Arrow now. I've been like the last 3 years since Williamson's run. And then Condon took over. That made me fall in love with the character.
I've never really given the Green Arrow like an honest chance.
And I really like him paired up with Batman in the Question. They have a new run that's going on right now that's just 4 issues.
With all 3 of them?
Yeah. Oh. And it's Vic Sage. Because
I might have
Vic Sage is dead? I think.
Yeah, I
don't
come
know.
Across some, like I saw that his character at least at one point in time dies in a grand fashion.
Because Renee Montoya is the main Question now.
Oh, okay.
So like she shows up. Like there was just a Question miniseries that took place on the Watchtower, which is Justice League's big spaceship. And somebody was doing something to the spaceship or the space station, and she was trying to figure it out. And she's lesbians with Batwoman.
Woke comic nonsense.
Yeah.
No, it sounds fun. But interesting. I'll have to definitely do some digging around on the.
But yeah, I think the Green Arrow issue and the Batman issue are both good. But yeah, this annual I really like.
Yeah, because
I love annuals. I think annuals are so good for the comic industry. I don't think people treat them the way they should be treated. Like, I think store shelves should be stocking as much as they can. If people were buying them, I would be doing that at our shop. But because they are supposed to be intro points. Because it's like, oh, Batman's on issue 82, but I could read this annual.
Yeah, it seems like, because I feel like I come across a lot of like trades that don't even like include annuals a lot of times.
Well, that's why I have just a box of annuals, because I love them. Like, I think the Superman annuals are always really fun. And I just think it's a really good, because comics now, they're just giant arcs, which is fine, but it's nice to have something that's just like a one and done.
Yeah, I agree.
Because it also forces the creators to really hone in on what they want to say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but, because...
Did you like the clown issue?
I liked this part a lot. I thought that was
like,
very
I
smart.
got it.
Yeah, because he's trying to figure out how to like kind of discredit the one mayoral candidate in the city's eyes, and the whole time he's like, "There's got to be a connection between all these clowns and the mayor race," and he's like, "I got it," and then he goes around and spends the whole night painting just like graffitiing clown face over this mayor's poster.
And then it ends with them being like, somebody somebody graffitied over all these posters.
Yeah.
He's like, Vic, what's wrong? He's like, I'm just tired.
Yeah.
And then the follow-up issue is that return of
the acid
face boy.
One Face.
Which, I think that kind of exploration of, like, fatherhood's really interesting, because the Question doesn't know who his father is.
Yeah.
And he's like, you know, Am
I better off than this guy in some ways? And comes to the conclusion that, no, I'm not.
Yeah.
Which I don't know if was necessarily the right conclusion, but it's an interesting question, so to speak. But, yeah, what was the next one?
Next one was...
yeah.
Yeah, this is when...
The election arc kicks off.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which the election arc's good. A good read. Yeah.
Those are all the, like, main storylines.
I love... I think the one that really took my breath away towards the end was... I really love that Riddler issue towards the end, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought
they kind of just make the Riddler seem like a loser. But...
Yeah, which when I started the issue, I did not like it, because I typically don't like when you take these legacy villains and try to like make a meta mockery out of them and try to defame them and go, you're lame. But I thought the way that the Question handled it was actually really well done and could have acted as like a really good like launching off as from like a transition point between like a campier Riddler to a darker interpretation of the Riddler, seeing as this was definitely happening towards the later 80s when the comics were starting to take that darker turn and going into more of following suit of like an Alan Moore. But yeah, I really liked that issue a whole lot. Just everything about it, like how they nerfed the Question in it, because he's at his wit's end and they're trying to get away, but yeah.
And then they're stuck on a bus with a crazy woman who's like, I'm gonna kill you all.
Yeah.
And the Riddler's like, what?
I guess I'll go along with this because you're bringing in...
They literally let the Riddler out because they don't have the government funding to keep him inside.
Yeah.
And that's also just like a real quick thing, being like, yep, we're not spending enough money on our mentally ill people.
Yeah, and how, like, you get just this little, like, nugget of, like, yeah, just a bunch of criminals that, like, might get out. We'll just go to Hub City, because it's really easy to get away with, like, their crimes there.
Yeah, she's like, yeah, I'm going to Hub City. I can just murder people.
Yeah, basically. Which, it's like, damn, alright. But, yeah, and just, she ends up, like, setting up, like, it's like, all right, we're gonna, like, shoot you if you get these riddles wrong, but if you get it right, you know, there's this rickety old bridge that maybe you'll stand a chance of getting across. And then the Question scares the shit out of her, and she ends up trying to bolt across the bridge and falling down and presumably dying.
Unless she suddenly comes back in the next volume.
Yeah, which I assumed they were killing off most of their villains, which they do for the most part, but then you notice he's trying to kind of bring some of them back through retcons, like the acid face guy's dad, because he seemed dead as a doornail.
And then he does die, but like I also think it's interesting that acid face. I should probably know this kid's name.
Yeah, we just keep calling
acid face.
I don't know.
Does he he's like, you need
moniker?
No bandages. I'll call him.
Yeah,
it was bandages. But even the Question in that issue is like, go easy on him. And O'Toole's like, why? It's like, cause maybe the city has no villains. I don't think he says it there, but he's kind of, at this point in that arc, he's kind of coming to that conclusion.
Yeah.
Where it's like, maybe the city is the thing that's diseased, and if we save the people, we save the city.
It's a valid question. It's one that, I know, every time.
I can't stop doing it. Question.
But yeah, it's because it's like, obviously, it's that age-old one where, I'm not even going to say it now, where it's like, is crime just a symptom of, like, bad leadership? Which,
it would be wonderful if we start the next omnibus and it's like, everything is wonderful in Hub City. Myra's made it a utopia. It'd just be so funny.
It would be an interesting route to explore at some point. An interesting...
I think that'd be a good way to, like, kind of end it, because it's like, if the city is healing, the question needed?
Yeah. That is...
I'm very excited to explore more. I had so much fun reading this.
Yeah, I really like it. It's a great noir. I love its implementation of like Taoist and Buddhist principles and parables. Like you get lots of references to like the butterfly and the philosopher. I can't remember the name of the philosopher who dreamed of the butterfly, but or the two lions and the strawberry, like stuff like that. I think it's nice. I like little references to that in comics. Add some culture.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it's a great read. I really enjoyed this one.
Yeah, I'm so glad. One of the regulars at the shop, he, like, recommended it to me, because I'm one of the people that will read a lot of older stuff. Mm-hmm. A lot of people don't want to read older stuff. It's fine. Whatever. I'm not bitter. But he's like, London, I think you really like that. And he let me borrow his first omnibus, and I read those first 6 issues, and I'm like, here's this back, I'm buying this.
Yeah.
And I feel very similar about Shade the Changing Man by Peter Milligan, which I will want to eventually read, because I'm just like, wow, they're not doing this in comics right now.
Yeah, I haven't read that one yet, but I bought it, and I plan on checking it out, because it looks insane. Just the artwork on the front cover, I was like, holy shit, that looks...
But this is another one that, like, even though I, like, own this omnibus, a lot of these issues aren't very expensive, so I might just buy some of my favorite issues, because it's like, wowee, I loved it.
Yeah, it was great. I look forward to checking out the second half and buying the second omnibus.
Yeah, so the plan is, a couple weeks, we'll read the second one, and we'll get back to you. Mm-hmm. Woo! Comic books! Yeah! Okay, bye, everyone.
Bye.